All right, so welcome to the second episode of the Sweet Sweet Sens Nation. Once again, my name is Sam. On the other side, we got Terry. Terry, how are you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good.
How do you feel about Stutzla?
Stutzla, Stutzel,
Stutzel?
Stutzel.
Stutzel?
Do
Stutzel?
we have an actual pronunciation of how to say it? I don't know, but I'm loving it personally. I'm loving every minute of this pick. I think it's huge for the team, and yeah, man, I can't stop smiling just like the
Yeah.
kid.
Honestly, yeah. So in this video pod, whatever cast is called, we'll break down the draft. We'll talk about free agency also, some signings, some losses, all that kind of stuff. So we'll touch on all that. So let's get started. So first off, we'll start off with the draft. It's an interesting start for Ottawa because um, we could have gone either way with Quentin Byfield and Stutzla. I do think we got the better of the two picks personally. So obviously LA ended up drafting Quentin Byfield, big centerman, played behind Kopitar, learn all that kind of stuff. Then Ottawa, we had a special guest come to the stage.
Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Jeopardy. Our category today is the NHL. And here is the clue for you. With the third pick in the 2020 NHL Draft, the Ottawa Senators choose this player. The correct response?
Shuck on it, Trebek. Shuck it long and shuck it hard.
That's right. Alex Trebek, come to the stage, help us out to announce the third overall pick, which was Tim
Mr. Stützle.
Stutzla. Personally, I thought Stutzla was the better player in the draft to be picking up. Skilled forward, great attitude. I don't know about you, but I find that his attitude is almost like a Carlos Lazar type attitude. Like he's just so easygoing, so fun.
Yes.
You can tell he's just going to bring a lot of personality to Ottawa. So what do you think of the whole draft and picking Stutzla? Obviously is probably the one to go to anyways, but getting him.
I mean, either way, it was one or the other. I still think, again, I want to say Quentin Byfield is going to be a great player in this league. I think he's, regardless of if I don't want to compare the two ever. I don't think this should be compared, but I think he's a good player. But as far as Stutzel goes, people are going to say, well, you had no choice but to take him. However, you can't miss with this guy. Like you said, he's got that positive energy, that vibe, that Curtis Lazar-like energy, or that attitude, sorry, I should say. But he's got size, he's got hands. I mean, his shot is insane. I don't know if you've seen his stick handling, like the way he actually can move the puck. He's going to be a game changer. And honestly, when I watch this kid, I've only seen a little bit of highlights from him, but every time I've seen him, it seems like anytime he has the puck in the offensive zone, something is happening. And Ottawa's needed something like that for a long, long time.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I think he's a perfect fit for Ottawa. They'll probably put him in the center by the sounds of it. They're going to start him off at the wing, I believe, they said. But he's going to play in the NHL right away. He's going to learn on the wing.
Do you think he has top line potential with Brady?
100%. 100%. I don't see why we wouldn't have that top line potential. Obviously, he needs some room to grow.
100%.
Yeah. That's why he's starting off in the wing. Then he maybe throughout the season he'll slowly kind of migrate into that centerman role.
Yeah.
But I think out of all possibilities for Ottawa, that was 100% the best chance or the best pick for us. I mean,
yes.
Out of Byfield and Stutzel. And once again, nothing against Byfield. I just worry about him. His compete level, everything like that. And with Stutzel, that we got that locked in for sure top 3, top 6
100%.
player.
Well, I just feel like it's kind of like the draft thing, like Ovi versus Sid. I know there were two different drafts, like Taylor versus Tyler kind of deal. Now Lafreniere was the number one obvious choice, but no one really knew who number 2 was going to be. So I didn't want the kid to I don't want the kid to be held down by comparison, but I think now we're going to probably transition to our next draft pick. I feel like he we'll be getting the most comparison of any of the Sens draft picks that we have selected.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to our next pick, which I think was the biggest surprise to the Sens Nation. Me personally, I kind of saw it coming. There was actually rumors a few weeks ago that we were drafting him, coming out of I guess Sanderson's agent or camp or something like that. I do think though. Actually, yeah. So we draft Jake Sanderson. I forgot to mention that. Fifth overall pick, huge shutdown defenseman. He's probably going to slot in probably in the second pair if I was to guess. So on our left side, we'll have Thomas Chabot, Sandstrom, and Brandstrom most likely. So lots of strums and stuff like that. But yeah, so I know we had a little bit of talk about this, Terry. I do think that we would have drafted Lucas Raymond if he was still there. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I was about to make a comment because I know we have some fans who didn't think that Raymond would go as high as he did, and then
Yeah.
he surprisingly went at 4. Sorry, I almost said 3 for some reason. But Stevie Y has got something planned. That kid's good, and I didn't expect. Honestly, I expected Ottawa would be taking the forward here, and I think when Detroit kind of threw the wild card in it. I'm not saying it made them change their selection. However, it made it an easier choice for Ottawa to select Sanderson. Like I think it was between one or two of the players personally, and they just didn't know how Detroit was going to go because Detroit also was in on the Sanderson I wouldn't say sweepstakes, but they liked him as well. They need a lot as well. They need defense. They need forwards, um, but yeah, no. Honestly, I like the pick. I know he's going to get compared to Drysdale a lot, but the University of North Dakota, he's already playing with Bernard Docker and Shane Pinto over there. Like our entire left side of defense for the future looks good. Chabot, Brandstrom, him. I mean, I like the kid personally. Definitely a bit of a shock pick, but I've warmed up to it.
Yeah. So just like out of curiosity, what do you think of Ottawa not picking a right-handed defenseman versus a big shutdown defenseman?
Here's the thing. I do like Drysdale. I think he's a great player. I think he went to Anaheim. They're going to get a great player in him. I don't really like the whole. See, it's tough because I understand where people go with the right-handed shot, the left-handed shot, the sides. Some people want a right-handed centerman or whatever. Yada yada yada. Honestly, Ottawa already has. It would be nice to have the right-hand shot, but Ottawa already has the player type of Jamie Drysdale in Thomas Chabot and Brandstrom already. So
Yeah.
getting another guy just because he shoots right-handed, I mean, then what do? You put him with Chabot and then they both do the same thing. It doesn't make sense. I mean, here we go get a guy who's already got chemistry with Bernard Docker, who should be a future player on our team, Pinto as well, and he's going to be an elite version of Chris Phillips right beside Chabot. I mean, honestly, I don't think the shots matter.
No. So I'm just going to kind of chime in with
Yeah.
here too. So one thing about Sandstrom versus whatever, that guy's going to bust Jamie Drysdale. First off, he outscored him on the scouting combine. He's a much faster player. He's much more physical. I do think we got the best defenseman in the draft. Mind you, we could have used that forward, but I'd rather have that big shutdown D-man that is, like you said, Chris Phillip-esque, but better. Also, there was, I believe it was reported this year, if not last year. I'm pretty sure you know about this. I'm pretty sure Brandstrom actually prefers playing the right side rather than the left side, right?
Yep. Yep. Currently, right now, he's on the left side depth chart, but yeah, he prefers playing the right side 100%.
So it's not like we're going to be sacrificing skill, and we're going to like drop Brandstrom all the way to like the third pair. So he can still play in the second pair. Maybe it'll be Chabot, I don't know, veteran D-man, Sandstrom, Brandstrom, then whatever from there kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure it out with the lines. I mean, Brandstrom still got a lot of learning to do. No, this isn't a shot at Vegas, but he didn't exactly have the greatest start of developing.
Yeah.
Let's say Now he's finally taken the stride. He's out and alone. I think he's just going to be one of those guys who takes a long time. Remember, Eric Carlson took a long time to develop, and I remember at one point, Ottawa was deciding to trade between David Rundblatter, Carlson, which I believe ended up getting us Kyle Turris in the end. And I remember they ended up picking to keep Carlson, and I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that was probably the right choice for the team. So it might take a little bit long for the kid to break out, but I mean, that's fine. But then when you add in all this new guy with Sanderson, I mean, I think that's the thing, is the sky's the limit for this decor. They're just getting stronger. And like Sam said, we got the best defenseman in the draft. And I'm using that word defenseman wisely because Drysdale will put up the points, but I think Sanderson's going to shut it down.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like Ottawa's ever made a bad decision on defense and letting one go. Oh, sorry, Zdeno.
Made some bad choices sometimes.
Yeah.
But we went to the cup final the year after.
And we didn't win. Okay, let's move on to our next pick, which was Ridley Gregg, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yes, Ridley Gregg.
Yeah, who's a very small guy. He is very small, but this guy is feisty. This guy is like a Brad Marchand, Pajot,
Kadri,
like all in one. Once this guy puts on some weight, he is going to be a pest to play against. And that's in towards the end of the draft in the 28s and the 30s and the second round, whatever, you're looking more towards like a third, fourth line player anyways. And this is where he's going to slot in. He'll be that third line banger that just brings energy to the game. Mind you, he is probably 4 years away, maybe 5 years away. Actually, just circling back to Lucas Raymond, he won't be in the NHL anyways for another 3 years, I think, because of his SHL, Swedish Hockey League deal, whatever.
Yeah.
So we won't see him even in Detroit for a while. But going back to our pick, yeah, we won't see him for a while. Terry, what do you think of this pick?
Honestly, I like it. I think all three of the draft picks we took in the first round are guys who can make the club. I'm not saying obviously right away. Sanderson, just going back to him real quick, he's going back to university for at least one more year. We know that. Stutzel, I think, will crack this year. And if he doesn't, I don't know how you can't crack our team at number 3 overall. But anyways, back to Ridley Gregg. I think he's a great player. Like you said, Marchand, Nazem Kadri type. A lot of heart in this kid. If he puts on some size, he gets that training, that NHL training, that NHL food, you know what I mean? He's eating, he's working hard, he's with the boys. I think this kid is actually has a shot in 3 to 4 years, man. Like, honestly, it might take a little bit, but it might be one of those guys who pays off in the long run, who could, it's one of those third or fourth line guys. If we go deep in the playoffs, he could score those big goals. You never know.
Yeah,
I mean, he had 80 points in the Western Hockey League. Sorry.
I honestly, I don't remember. I just know that, like, just from watching his highlights, this guy's a banger. He just likes to throw his body around. Mind you, he doesn't have the size to throw down, but he likes to throw all like 150 pounds of him wherever he is right now.
That's fine. We need that feistiness. We need somebody with, like, I mean, that's what Pajot did, and he wasn't the biggest player at all either. And I mean, we love the guy, all heart and soul, right? So hopefully,
yeah, and like, he's a perfect guy for what Ottawa's going for right now. As Ottawa's drafting all these like heart and soul players that just look fun to play with, like on and off the ice. These guys are just outstanding guys. So
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the second round. I'm going to start butchering names as the more and more come up. So we'll go with our first pick, number 33 overall. Yes.
Did you want to go with the second round, or did you just want to just maybe brush over just the guys that we liked for the rest of the draft? Because that might be a lot of picks,
Yeah. So we'll kind of just touch a little bit on the second round. Then we'll move on to like we'll just fly through the last people. So Robbie, he's a big, I think, left winger. I honestly don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Let me
Robbie Jarventi.
Oh yeah, I think it's Roby Jarventi.
Roby Jarventi.
I'm not very good with I'm pretty sure he's from Finland. I'm not very good with European names.
No, me neither.
Stutzel. Still getting used to that one.
Yeah, so he's left winger, still a young guy. It's going to be a few years. They project him to be probably a third line player. So we'll see what happens with him. And we'll move on to the next pick. We got Sandstrom's actually roommates, North Dakota product, Tyler Cleven. If I'm
We actually
pronouncing that
traded
right.
up for, by the way, with the
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So we got his roommate, another defenseman.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I don't know what's in the water in North Dakota or what it is, but he is another left shot defenseman, but he is another big boy. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, I think, right now. So um, he's another big defenseman that we could have in our system.
Can I get this next guy?
Yes.
All right. This next guy, I really like this guy. With our last pick in the second round at 61, number 61 overall, we took Igor Sokolov, and I absolutely love this guy. He's 6'4", 240. He can play right or left wing. The most important thing about this guy is he finished third last year in the QMJHL in points, and I'm pretty sure he finished first in goals. The same league that the number 1 overall pick Lafreniere came out of, and he didn't play on Lafreniere's team, so they weren't like easy points for them. This kid, I think, might be the steal of our draft. I honestly have high hopes for this kid. He looks like a stud.
Yeah, so like he's honestly the only pick I want to talk about outside of the first round. So it's that big right winger we needed. We talked about that the previous video. There is a little bit of issue with him and his speed, but he did stay back in North America during the pandemic, COVID, whatever, to work on his skating. He dropped a bunch of weight, so he's trying to get faster. He is an overager, so he's been passed over a couple times, but at the end of the day, you want to see a steady decline of whatever production in the league you're playing in. And this is what this guy does. If this big right wing Russian pans out for Ottawa, he will be a solid, probably third line player, but could maybe, depending on his ability, skating, all that stuff, slot up into the second spot. He has one hell of a shot.
Oh yeah,
that is one thing he does have. So yeah, I'm honestly, like, I'm on board with you on that one. I'm very excited for this guy. We'll see. That's it. Anything
it's
past
just one of those
the
guys.
first round is like, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
So we drafted a couple other overagers. So we'll just kind of go down the list from here.
Yep.
So we drafted another goalie called Levi Merlanian.
Yeah.
Big Finnish goalie. We'll see what happens with that. We have a lot of goalies in our system now.
Sens usually draft a goalie every year for the development camp, just so that they can have one, and it gives guys a shot. Also, goalies have a ton of value, so
yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens with that. We picked up a overager, Eric Inkstrand. He's a big guy too. He can play left and right wing. 6'4", 212. So I don't know. Guess we're drafting big boys this
trying to get bigger. Yeah.
Philip Daust or Philippe Daust.
I like that name.
Yeah, he's 18. I don't know. He's whatever. We'll see. I don't know anything about him, to be honest. I just know his name. And last but not least, in our final pick, we picked up Cole Reinhardt, who is, I think I read, was at the 2018 Colorado development camp, but obviously didn't make the roster. So he is an overager at the age of 20, 6'1", 203. So yeah, that's him.
Honestly, I think Ottawa got what they wanted to start with. They saw a lot of guys with heart potential in the end, and they took their chances when they could take their chances. And honestly, I feel like no matter what, if you look back at this draft, it was a home run for Ottawa with the first 3 picks regardless.
Yeah, no, Ottawa did a great job. I know a lot of people did want to draft that forward, but maybe we'll do like a little bit of review or something about just teams in general in another video, but we'll just stick with our boys for now. So actually in the middle of the draft, some big news happened. Some huge news. Between, I think, Sokolov and Cleveland being drafted, we traded a big trade for nothing almost, I would say.
yeah.
Ottawa Senators acquired Matt Murray from Pittsburgh. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not exactly the biggest Matt Murray fan before he got to Ottawa, but just learning a lot more about him, I'm starting to grow into it. Honestly, we needed a goalie. He's got the resume, fits the bill, and you know what? He's got a lot of proving to do, and he's got a lot of haters to shut up from Pittsburgh. And honestly, we're a team that we could use that. I think he's got fire under his ass. Sorry to say that, but he's ready to go. And honestly, if you want to, I mean, he signed obviously, so he wants to be here, and I think that's a huge step for Ottawa for having guys that want to be here. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that's exactly. And a lot of people are talking about him, saying Matt needs a fresh start because of numerous of things, where there's concussions. I think his dad passed in the middle of the season,
Yep.
then he got married, and just a bunch of stuff happened to this guy over the last few years. I kind of get worried because we already have one concussed goalie sitting in our system, and Nielsen, who is still
Apparently he's not ready yet.
no.
Apparently he might not even say, if the season were to start on time, he might not even be ready for the rest of the season. So, I mean, that's why I think Ottawa's trying to load up on goalies as well, to make sure that just in case they do have a backup. And Murray does have an injury history as well. So, but
Yeah, we'll see though, because like some people, like, look at Crosby. Remember, like, towards the earlier part of his career, he kept having concussions, but it was actually just like a broken neck or something like that.
Yep.
Where everyone thought, like, this guy's career is over. He keeps missing all these games, and long and behold, Crosby is fine after all.
Yeah.
Even Daniel Elferson had that problem in the start of his career. The first few years, he was always hurt, but after that, he just became that Swedish workhorse we know, and that never got injured. So,
Yeah. No.
yeah.
No,
So
I like it.
I think it's a great pickup for Ottawa. I didn't know about Nielsen's injuries at first, so that's why I was very skeptical about Murray. But we'll kind of talk about the free agents picked up and signings and stuff like that. So we'll start with Matt Murray, where we signed him to a 4-year, $25 million contract.
Mhm.
I think we kind of overpaid for him personally. If you look at what every other goalie's going for, every other goalie's got signed for like 3 to 4 million at most.
Okay.
Where Murray, I think, is at about 6 million a year. I think it is, for a goalie that, yes, he has proven himself. Yes, he's won 2 Stanley Cups, but he has a lot of injuries. And if you look at the market, you could have got an equal goalie to Murray, if not just like a little bit less or a little bit more. I don't know, for $2 million less a season. What do you think of his contract?
Honestly, I'm not worried about it. We were paying Anderson about $1 million more, or sorry, about $1 million less at 38 years old. My problem is, like, my only argument with the other goalies is the only goalie out there that has a Stanley Cup would have been Holtby, and the problem with Holtby is he's already pushing 30, whereas Matt Murray was a RFA 26 with 2 Stanley Cups. So I feel like that's where we can spend the money. We also have a crazy amount of cap space. I don't know if you've been on Cap Friendly recently, but we have at least $10 million more than the next team behind us. Overpayment for a guy for that. It's scary with his injuries past, but when you look at his resume and how young he is, I can't sit there and argue with it. That's the price you pay for goalies of that caliber in this league. And unfortunately, fortunately for us, we do have the cap space for it. We still need to hit the cap floor. Be interesting to see what we do. You are right, though. Other goalies were there for a lot cheaper, but I don't think Ottawa's concern right now is to be cheap. I think it's to get the right guy with the right fit. And I think they might have done it, considering, we have a bone to pick with this league for the last few years of the way we've been treated as a team and a fan base organization. And I think he has a bone to pick with the league as well, with the way he's been treated in his own. So, it is what it is. Contract aside, we got the money to spend.
Yeah, we do have the money, and it's not like any names are going to just absolutely screw us out of this contract kind of thing. So we should be fine.
I think 4 years, by the way. I'll keep this one short. I believe he wanted 8 from Pittsburgh. So I think the 4 years isn't that bad. We know automatically next year he's the starter. If he does well or not, he's got zero expectations because we're Ottawa. So next year he's a starter. By year 2, we're going to have some expectations. If he does well or does not do well, we'll know by then. And by year 3 and 4, we could, if say he doesn't do well, he's buyout worthy or movable. If not, then he's doing well for us and we have nothing to complain about. And this whole conversation never happened.
Yeah, we'll find out. And honestly, like, it's time will tell. Like, will he get hurt? Will he not? Like, what will happen with him? But I do think that was a great trade for Ottawa for just a second rounder.
Yes. I thought we were giving up a first.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, speaking of trades, Eric Branson for a 5th round pick, picked him up for essentially nothing. I brought some concerns to the table with him, with you, where regards to his Iron Man status, I guess you can say, where he on average plays about 40 to 50 games per season. The maximum he's ever played was 76. So in his career, he's never played a full season, which is kind of concerning.
Right.
And also, I think a couple of years ago, he was in the AHL at one point. So,
yeah.
But for a 5th round pick for a right shot defenseman, that's a local boy who can play at the NHL level, it's not a bad trade at all.
No, I don't think it's a bad trade at all. I mean, personally, I feel like he's just a placeholder for now until next year. He's got 1 year left. The guy was the number 3 overall pick in his draft year. So he did have that upside then. He's well past that now. Local Ottawa boy, like you said. I feel like he just slides into Borowiecki's role. And, like we all loved Boro. And my big argument was everyone was upset with us trading for Goodbranson and saying, well, we could have just signed Boro. Well, I'm sorry to say, but if you were happy with the way the team was playing in the last 2 to 3 years with how mediocre and bad they were, if you just want to keep holding on to guys from that team, then I'm sorry, but we need change. And I mean, I'm not saying Eric Branson's going to change our team, but we need it. We need some new faces around here. And like I said, he might just be here for 1 year to take over Sanderson's spot, but it is what it is. It was a pretty harmless trade, in my opinion. The draft pick doesn't hurt us. He'll play his games and we'll see. And then maybe he earns himself a contract next year. Who knows? But
yeah, like you said, it was just it was an easy trade. There was nothing to it. 5th round picks, really nothing to give up. Is maybe like 1 or 2 players from the 5th round actually even make it to the NHL. So for someone who was able to step in, yeah, good trade.
Work now.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll talk about some signings. We signed a lot of garbage contracts, which don't really affect the Sens in any way. We signed Logan Shaw, who is an AHL lifer. He's 28.
Oh, you forgot one. You forgot one trade.
Oh, who's that?
Austin Watson from the Nashville Predators.
Oh yeah, I had him on the dock there. Yeah, so Austin Watson for a 2021 4th round pick, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't really care for Austin Watson personally. He's been up and down more than a fireman going down a pole. He's going to be a filler in the lineup. There's really not much to him. He's been so like every year he's back and forth between the Predators and Milwaukee.
Yep.
He's a 4th line player at most. So it's Austin Watson.
I think he's going to bounce around a little bit. He'll be all right. I mean, he's got 3 years left at 1.4, 1.5. I mean, I think really he was only bouncing around through Nashville because of their contract situations. But like you said, he's a 3rd, 4th liner. He's a filler. And honestly, I mean, the trades that Pierre's trying to make right now are just safe trades to get guys to, we're going to have some guys who are we need guys protected. This is going to be a guy who's going to kind of look over some of our young guys, even though, Brady can take care of himself. We know that. But again, another filler, another harmless trade for the Senators. So.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums up all the free agency we did. So Logan Shaw signed 2 years, $1.45 million. This guy's 28 years old, played a little bit in Winnipeg last year. Then we also signed Matthew Pekka, who we traded for with Montreal. Then we signed him to a 1 year, $700,000 contract. Yeah, so nothing too crazy. I think the bigger news in the whole aspect of free agent signings is Anthony Duclair, us walking away from him. So if people don't know, Anthony Duclair is representing himself, which is like the most like ridiculous thing you can do, because you're going to go to all these TM, or there's these GMs saying, all right, I want 4 or 5 million. They're like, all right. So Anthony, I see here last year you scored, I don't know, what was it, like
23
26?
goals.
Yeah, 23 goals. 21 of them were from October until December. Then after that, you had 2 empty net goals for us this season. Why are you worth $4 million exactly? And I don't think that as a player, mentally, that's the best thing to have in your head. What do you think?
No, I don't like it either. I mean, he's a smart kid and he's a good hockey player, but his struggles up and down, like on the ice, hurt. And then when it comes to representing himself, it's a little scary, when you try and talk contracts with somebody like that. I mean, he wants to learn how much he's worth, and I think right now he's seeing it as he's still not signed day 3 into free agency.
Yeah, and another um, thing with Duclair is like we need, like, if he wants the big money, he needs to get a full season under him. He had the perfect situation with Ottawa. We played him top line minutes. We played him all the right situation, and he couldn't even put together a full season of being a solid point producer.
Mhm.
Luckily for me, I traded him at the perfect time for my fantasy league, so I was happy about that. I was like, all right,
Big brain play.
thanks, Duke. But other than that, it's I think the perfect fit for him is in Ottawa. Maybe he'll sign with Montreal for some reason, or
There's still
somewhere
time for
else.
him to resign. I mean, the bridge isn't closed. I just
No,
feel like the amount of money he wanted is a little out there. I mean, I understand where he's at in his career. The times we're in with COVID and trying to get job security and dollar security. But like you said, he hasn't really played the full season under one team. He's been on multiple teams. He's only 25. He's got great skill, great potential. I mean, amazing skater. I love the guy, but you can't. Ottawa. You got to remember, Ottawa's also been down this road with arbitration before, and it hasn't gone well in their favor, especially with Cody Ceci and Jean Gabriel Pajot. I love Pajot, but for a guy who should have been making about 3 million, $4 million, was almost making 5.5. And I mean, he scored less points than Duclair did. So are we going to sit here and try and let the arbitrator give Duclair a 6.5, $7 million contract? I know the easy thing to say is, well, Ottawa has money, let's spend it, but that's what gets you in trouble. We're trying to be smart with our money. And unfortunately, if someone's going to try and take advantage of us in that situation, I think we did the right thing. I think we let it walked away. And as like I said, the door's still open. Never know. But
yeah, I honestly think he'll come back to Ottawa. Like, no, this is like the best fit for me. Like, you guys are letting me playing top 6 minutes, where probably other teams are like, all right, you maybe your bottom six, like third, if not second line, maybe.
mhm,
So I do think he will come back to Ottawa. Probably terms going to be around 3 million a year for like 3 years,
3
maybe.
years, yeah.
Something simple like that. But we also let 2 other people walk, which was Jace Howerluck.
Yep.
We picked him off of waivers in Florida last year. I think he played like one game, then COVID happened or something like that.
Yeah, he had a weird situation, unfortunately.
Yeah, I guess we just didn't want him. And Andreas England is another guy that we let walk, which is I think I don't know how old he is, but he's a big Swedish defenseman.
He's about 26 now. I mean,
Yeah,
we've been hearing about him for a long time. I always thought he'd crack the club, but unfortunately, I guess we let him go. So
yeah,
it's the way it is. That's the
exactly.
business.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. Obviously, there's still a lot of cap space and everything we need to fix. So who knows what we're going to sign? There's lots of potential out there for us to pick up some fillers again. But I think right now, Otto's main person they could look at is Duclair, only if Duclair wants to come back.
Right. Um, yeah, like you said, we got a ton of cap space. I think the only person with that deal open still would be Duclair. I think we're done on defense and goalies. I would hope so. But yeah, we could definitely use a winger. On like Duclair who can score. That would be nice. And maybe they'll sort it out. There's a few other guys out there. I'm sure the price tags are pretty heavy. Do you think Ottawa's done in free agency besides possibly Duclair if they do go for him?
Well, no, I still think they're like, aren't they still a few million off the cap floor?
They are still a few million off the cap floor. However, Connor Brown and and I'm just drawing blanks right now. A few others have filed for arbitration.
Okay.
So those contracts still do need to be worked out.
Yeah.
It appears that the Sens will be bringing Connor Brown back, as well as a few other guys, which I'm excited about. I like Connor Brown as a player.
Too.
So I wish I've been trying to search up who went to arbitration for Ottawa, but I have no idea. But either way, there'll be a few, at least, let's say about 7 million would be spent there.
Well, that wraps up the Sweet Sensation episode 2. Terry, any last thoughts before we sign off here?
Stutzel.
Okay. Thank you. The Sweet Sense Nation. See you guys next time.
Bye.